Hi everyone, Steve Kane, owner of South March Studio, and this is a behind the scenes look of how I got that shot. Today we'll be looking at a large group portrait. So the client requirements for this photo were that there'd be 15 people involved, ranging in ages from 10 months up to about 70 years of age. They wanted the shot taken in their home, and by the way, they also wanted 6 dogs involved. The challenge now is the room was only 15 feet wide, and I had to fit 15 people in there, plus 6 dogs. The other surprise that I had when I arrived on site was that they announced they wanted the Christmas tree as part of the shot as well. This was going to be part of their Christmas card for next season, so it definitely had to be in the shot. Normally when I do a family portrait, I don't include seasonal things because I'm trying to create an image that can be displayed year-round. So let's talk a little bit about the gear setup that are used for this particular shoot. First thing we need to do is lock down the camera. That means put it on a tripod. We don't want things moving around. We want to be taking a number of shots with a stationary environment. Every shot I take must be consistent, so I'm not using a zoom lens, something that might get bumped and the perspective changing. And I'm not using any auto settings where the camera may choose a different camera setting for each frame. I need everything to be exactly exposed and framed identically between each shot. And you'll see why in a minute. So now it's time to bring the client into the room for the photo. Not just yet. One of the best things you could do is shoot the room as a baseline shot after you've got your camera and your lighting set up and you're happy with all the settings. It's not always used, but it's a great idea to have this baseline photo as a reference point, and you'll see later on as some editing tools. So the first thing I did was pose the people. It's always easier dealing with adults and with people because you can communicate with them, they're easier to control, knowing that we had dogs coming in later. So the general rule when you're doing a large family portrait is the more people involved, the more pictures you need to take. It really can be like herding cats, trying to get everyone to look in the same direction at the same time with their eyes open with a proper expression. In this particular shoot, I managed to capture 15 images before the client started to get restless. At one point, someone said, "So where are we supposed to look?" That's typical. You're not dealing with actors, you're not dealing with models, people who are used to being in front of the camera and know exactly what they're supposed to be doing. It's the nature of the beast when doing family group portraits with the general population. So I had a look at the timestamps on these images after I finished the shoot, and the client time in front of the camera for the 15 images was actually only 2 minutes and 16 seconds. So now let's take a look at the post-processing that went into creating the final image. We've planned everything, we've shot everything, now we just have to pick the best of all the images we picked, right? Not really. This is when the real work begins. You're not likely to get a perfect shot with everyone looking in the right direction, with everyone's eyes open, everyone with a proper expression, especially when you've got them trying to control pets at the same time. We're trying to shoot for success, not shoot for one lucky shot. So let's quickly scroll through all the images that were captured so you can get an idea of how everyone was moving around. People are looking all over the place, the pets are constantly moving. You can see sometimes the dogs lie down, sometimes they stand up. In this case, the dog decided to go for a walk and go for a visit. At one point, both dogs ended up behind the group. There, now we've got both dogs missing. So the challenge really is to make sure the people are captured properly first, and then worry about the pets second. So the task now is to review all the images and pick the one that is your best baseline image that you can build the final portrait from. This is going to be the one that's the most right. The most people are looking at the camera, they've got the best expressions, their eyes are open, and will give you minimal requirements to Photoshop in things afterwards. So now let's look at the baseline image that I selected to build my final shot from. We come into Photoshop here, and you can see everyone's smiling, they're looking at the camera. We've got the mother and the baby engaged with each other, even though they're not looking at the camera. But I am missing 2 dogs. We can see one coming back from the drapes, just behind the boy here. The other one you can see the legs as the dog has decided to look out the back drapes during the photo shoot. But overall, it was the one image that had the most right with it. Now this is why we locked down the camera, shot everything in manual. I can start importing segments from other images into this one to create the final product. So the first thing I'm going to do is bring a golden back into the frame. You can see him coming in from behind the boy here. Reviewed all the other images that we'd captured and brought in the best image of the dog, and noticed that the boy's expression was also better in that frame than the original. Just scroll back real quick. It's a decent shot of him. Wasn't crazy about his pose. It's an improved pose, an improved expression, and I've got the dog there. The other nice thing is it's also hiding the white socks, having the light colored dog there. So his socks no longer draw your eye to the corner of the image. Now the other thing you'll see when I toggle back and forth is that the lady holding the black lab behind him, again, it was a good shot of her, not the best pose. Part of this same image was a better pose and shot of the dog and of her. So I went ahead and brought that into the frame as well. The other thing you'll see is I didn't like this gap between these two gentlemen here. When I was bringing the golden in, improving the boy, improving the girl and her dog, it was also an opportunity to fix this little gap here with the shot of this gentleman here. Now the next thing I wanted to see if I could correct is the mom and the baby. As I was going through these choices that I had, there were only 4 frames of the 15 where the mom and or the baby were looking at the camera. So it limits what I have to draw from, but again, it can find something that improves the shot. Now we've got a great shot of the baby. If you have a little quick look here at the drapes, remember the other dog was looking through the drapes and had separated them. That baseline shot that I took with nobody in the frame was an opportunity to clone the drapes from that shot into this one, which is why it's a good idea to take a baseline shot like that. Now we've got a great shot of the baby. I'm noticing the mom's face is a little bit hidden behind this lady here. So I went and found another photo where you could see the mom's face a bit better. The other thing that needed to be corrected was that from the previous shot, her ponytail was still stuck to this gentleman's face. We needed to fix that. So when we brought in the other shot of the mom, it also gave us an opportunity to clean up that part of the frame. So now we've got 15 people and 5 out of the 6 dogs. It's time to bring the last dog in. So again, I went through all the 15 frames that I'd taken, had one frame where that dog behaved, was actually lying, somewhat looking at the camera. However, that particular frame, the dog was lying front and center, was hiding the dachshund. So this is not where the dog was, but it was the only option I had to bring that dog into the frame. So what I did was locate him in this corner to help balance the image. It also hid the bare feet from this lady, plus the bright red shorts of this boy here are now masked by placing the dog in that part of the frame. Now we're almost getting there. We've basically got everyone now in the frame and everybody's looking at the camera, but I'm looking for ways now that I'm doing this editing to see if I can improve things even further. So in the center of the frame, there's only one dog now that's not looking at the frame, or not looking at the camera. I went through all 15 to see if I had anything I could draw from. There was one single image where the dog looked at the camera. So again, I went ahead, brought that in. So now everyone's looking at the camera, everyone's in the shot, everyone's in the frame. Wasn't sure if there was an opportunity to improve the expression of the woman holding that dog. So again, I went back, looked at what I had to work from, and had her turned back, centered, directly looking at the camera. Now I've got everyone smiling, eyes open, looking at the camera, and all the dogs in the shot. Now it's time to do some finishing touches. I'm going to look for what other things need to be corrected to create the final product. Now I'm just going to shut down all the other layers, and we can show you the deliverable image. And this was the baseline image that we started from. And at the end of the day, the deliverable product was a creation or a combination from 6 of the 15 images that were captured during that photo shoot. So there you have it. The challenges of taking a large family group portrait. Plan as much as you can in advance, react to challenges as they happen, and deliver an heirloom product to your clients. That's all for this episode of Behind the Scenes How I Got That Shot. Thanks for watching.